Greetings, everybody. Nikki Brown here. No matter where you are, what part of the world you are in, I hope that you are having a good day. So, pardon me. I came on here today to provide a bit of clarity. Um, I hear a lot of people say things like divination or tarot is evil. It's the devil. Um, or it's voodoo and stuff like that. But um, it's really not. Not in the way that people think, but I understand that people don't understand, and so this is why they think these things. So I'm hoping to provide some clarity and understanding, right? Divination has been practiced for centuries. Um, People use things like bones, stones, crystals, sand, um, and of course tarot cards, right? Um, I'm not exactly sure when the first set of tarot cards were made, but I do, however, know that the Rider Waite tarot deck were first created by Pamela Coleman Smith under the direction of author Edward Waite in 1909. So I would have to dig a little deeper to find out other information. There's also this guy, Eliphas Levy or Levi. Um, and he said, hold on. Let me get the exact quote. He said, tarot is a book that summarizes all science and in which all infinite combinations can solve all problems. And he lived 1810, I think he was born. Yep, February 8th, 1810. And he died in 1875. So, the tarot cards were at least created after that. But again, divination was practiced prior to that as well. Centuries prior to that. Now, I came across an article that a young lady wrote. And two, it spans across all nationalities. People even used tea, like tea that you drink. They even used tea too. There was dream interpretation. Um, uh, Bowls filled with oil. Mirrors on metal. And of course, we've seen crystal balls. They would even use kernels of corn for divination, right? I would imagine that's where the concept of dice came from. Even the flight patterns of birds. All of these things, all of these tools were used um, for divination, right? So divination is not anything new. I want to make sure I didn't miss any. I knew about some, but I didn't know about all of them when I started doing my research. Even the light of a candle, right? These things were all used. So I have this article that I'm going to share. And it is by a young lady named Cam Johnson, and she considers herself a social media editor. Her name is Cameron Brooke. I guess she got married. So at the top of the article it says Cameron Brooke, and then a little bit below that it says Cam Johnson, so I'm assuming she got married. Okay? And the title of the article is Tarot Cards Aren't Demonic, You Just Watch Too Many Halloween Movies, right? She wrote this September 15th, 2021. And it's posted on BaylorLaureate.com. BaylorLariat. Okay. Tarot cards were used as playing cards. That's one of the things that I did forget. They started out as regular playing cards. Some people still use playing cards to practice divination. They don't use tarot cards. They haven't bought the Rider-Waite cards. They just use regular playing cards still. And in playing cards, let's see. I know I have a note somewhere about the playing cards. Oh. Yeah, so aces, of course, is the number one. No, but there was something specific I wrote down about. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. Where did I? Bear with me. I know I have a note about it. I know that I do. I may have to come back with that. But I wrote down. Oh man. Like the differences. There are differences. Nope, it's not any of those. Oh, here it is. Playing cards as tarot cards. So, in a deck of wow. I just saw something. Anyway, oh man. So, in a deck of playing cards, the pages don't exist, right? The knights are jacks, the queens are still queens, and the kings is still queens. The joker represents the fool. Wands are clubs, which is your earth energy, concrete and earthbound. The pentacles equals diamonds, which is air energy, wisdom, aristocracy, and power. The cups are equal to hearts, which is water, emotion and their influence. And swords equals spades, which is fire, activity, and pure power. So that's what the playing cards in tarot represent. I don't think there, aside from the Fool, I don't think there are any other major Arcana cards used in a regular playing deck, just the Fool. To the best of my knowledge. I did do some research. I didn't do a whole lot of research, but those were the notes that I took from the research that I did do. And I need to come back to that. Okay. Tarot cards were used as playing cards in the mid 15th century. So, that's like 1400s, right? But they only recently started being used as a tool for divination and guidance. So, as of 1909, or at least the 1800s. So, about four, let's say maybe 400 to 500 years later. But I don't know if they were used prior to that. Um, um, in terms of the cards, that was just the first record that we know of the cards being used. Um, but again, it started out as playing cards, them using playing cards, not actual, like with the actual images that we see on tarot cards today. I told you that the Fool is the Joker. So, in a regular playing card deck. So, we know what the Joker looks like. And if you don't, I'm not going to grab a deck of cards. It's going to add too much time. I do know where my playing cards are, but I'm not going to go through all that. Because then I would have to look through the deck and pull out the Jokers. So anyway, the Fool is considered the Joker. But none of the other major Arcana cards were used. So in terms of the Rider-Waite deck, that's when these images that we see, started being used. But prior to that, those were not used. Okay? So, since at least the mid-15th century, let me start over. Tarot cards were used as playing cards in the mid-15th century, but they only recently started being used as a tool for divination and guidance. The term divination is often associated with witchcraft, which for whatever reason is associated with worshiping the devil. However, divination is actually the practice of telling a prophecy, and it quite literally means to be inspired by a god. If that doesn't scream anti-Satan, I'm not sure what does. Using cards is no different than someone you go to church with saying that they're a prophet or prophetess. It's no different. They're telling you that they're prophesying for you. So it seems to be more comfortable for some people to hear the word prophecy than tarot or divination. But really, there is no difference. It's somebody predicting something, or saying that they see something, or foretelling your future, or giving you some type of confirmation that something did or will happen. The negative stigma attached to tarot cards came from horror movies and scary stories that painted them out to be evil tools. Today, though, tarot cards are extremely popular and more people use them than you think. They may sound crazy, but before you click away from this article and label me a Satan worshiper, stick around, you might be surprised. Now, it's funny because someone that I know who goes to church not every Sunday, but who was a churchgoer, uses tarot cards. And I was very surprised to see someone religious using tarot cards because, again, usually people say that they're evil. But you have a lot of people behind closed doors who practice some form of divination. Now, before I explain why they aren't demonic, you should probably know what they are and how they work. There are various types of tarot decks, but the most popular and traditional is the Rider-Waite deck, which was published in 1909. The deck is very colorful and to me has some of the prettiest artwork. However, whichever deck speaks to you the most is the one you should pick. Tarot is also about strong intuition. All tarot decks have the same structure with 4 suits of 14 cards: wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. They are known as the minor arcana. Each card in the minor arcana represents a different moment or a different person in your life, and each suit correlates with a different part of your life. This is what I say. when you use tarot cards, you're supposed to use your intuition, right? Nobody can really, people can lead you on the right path, but really no one can teach you necessarily how to read tarot cards, because we may look at these cards and have two different interpretations of the meaning. Then we may relate it to the cards that are next to it, right? These are two different decks. This is the Rider-Waite, and this is Modern Witch Tarot. They have different colors on, right? He's carrying a sack on a stick, and she is not, right? But the pictures are similar. One has water behind it, the other has city behind it. So, depending on what's going on, and then one has a brown dog and the other has a white dog. Can you see that? Here's the brown dog, here's the white dog. So like white means purity, right? But what is the brown dog representing? Again, it may be affiliated with the other cards that are surrounding it. Now, if that's the first card to come out, you still may look at these people as naive young people on a path. But for me, that's the Jesus story. He set out on a path as a young person to find himself. So did the Song of Solomon, right? That's basically what that book is about. The Song of Solomon, both the biblical story and the story by Toni Morrison, right? Song of Solomon. A young person. And how many movies, I don't care how modern it is, how many movies are about a young person on a journey to find themselves? Right? That's what the tarot, I did a post, a video about that. That basically the whole tarot story is we're following the journey of the Fool, which in the original tarot deck is a young man on a journey to find himself. And the first person he encounters is the Magician, followed by the High Priestess, which is basically can be seen as his higher self, or he could just be seen as two spiritual people that he comes across who are highly intuitive, and in essence informing him that he can tap into his own intuition, his own higher self. Depends on how you look at it. You know, some people say, oh, that's not right. But again, if this is someone else's intuition, you can't necessarily say that it's right or wrong. Because if that comes up in that person's intuitive mind at that time, and that's what they say, then that may be accurate for that person in that situation at that time. Right? Let's continue on. For example, the suit of swords corresponds with intellect, the heart, and emotions. Overall, it deals with the mental state and balance. This suit is also associated with the air element because you can't touch or see it, but it's always moving, much like our minds. So one of the things that I say about swords is that it's also representing a message of time, and it's fast, usually days, weeks, or months, right? It's also mental, all in your mind. What are you thinking? What are your thoughts, right? And again, it's fast. It's the intellectual of the zodiac, right? Because again, it's the mind. So how is this person thinking? Okay, let's continue on with Cameron. Each suit corresponds with a different part of your life as well as a different element. The deck has 22 more cards called the Major Arcana, which represent significant moments in your life. Major Arcana are more powerful than Minor Arcana because they can affect them in readings. The first card in the Major Arcana is the Fool, and each card after represents a part of the Fool's life, which is pretty much what I just explained. That's the Fool on a journey, and the people that he encounters along the way. And they help guide and shape his life along the way. There's like even a death and a rebirth. The devil, versus temperance. So the journey has a lot of ebbs and flows and takes the fool up and down. But all along the way, the fool is learning life's lessons. Tarot is supposed to read like a storybook that can provide guidance to specific parts of your life or help you think through things in a way you didn't beforehand. The cards themselves aren't too helpful in guiding you. It's how you read them that reveals the path. Reading tarot is a combination of knowing what each card means and using intuition to pinpoint what you feel is the meaning of each card. When you begin reading, there should always be a question in your mind of whether it's advice or just curiosity. Once you have your question, shuffle the cards. The ones that randomly pop out or the ones that you feel are calling to you are the ones that should be included in your reading. The meaning of the cards in the reading can tell a story that can give you the answers to your question. So some people shuffle and they wait for the cards to pop out. So I'll just go ahead and show you what that looks like. So you shuffle, right? Let's say you shuffle 3 times. And then you start to shuffle through the cards this way, right? And then a card may pop out, right? Some people, though, take the cards and spread them out. Some people don't even use the whole deck, right? Some people don't use the whole deck. But let's say I'm using my intuition and I'm going to pick out some of these cards. So I feel like I want this one. And you can have even if you're a tarot card reader, some people have their clients do this. This one seemed like it wanted to come out, so I'm going to take that. I feel like this one is calling me. And I feel like this one is calling me. So it could go that way. So if you go to certain tarot card readers, that's what they'll have you do. They will have you pick your own cards. Wow. I'm going to have to read those for myself later. Yeah, so depending on which tarot card reader you go to, again, the cards may either pop out or they will spread them out and have you pick whatever you feel like you're drawn to within that deck. Okay? Overall, just like meditating, baking a cake, or doing a backflip, tarot is a practice and requires dedication. It's definitely not for everyone, but reading tarot is a practice many are misled on, and I'm here to clear the air. Now that the fundamentals are out of the way, let's get into the nitty-gritty. The real nitty-gritty. The only one. Tarot cards are not related to demonic things, and while one of the cards literally has a devil on it, they are completely materialistic and personal objects, and anyone who claims otherwise is likely just intimidated by spirituality. Tarot cards simply serve as a gateway into spirituality and a deeper understanding of yourself, but most often, the benefits of tarot cards fly over people's heads. It's just like astrology. For me, astrology is a way to better know yourself or others so that you can better deal with the people around you. It's not an end all be all, because also you have to consider a person's learned behavior and how they were raised as well. However, it can be a good guide for understanding people and how to deal with them better. And, just like, with anything else, you're not supposed to read these things literally in that way. Again, it's a guidance, it's confirmation. Let's continue on. In the Bible, Leviticus 19, verse 31 reads, "Do not turn to mediums nor necromancers. Do not seek them out, and so make yourself unclean by them. I am the Lord your God." Tarot cards are not magic, right? They can't perform necromancy. They can't predict your future, and they can't have any magical properties, even if you wish they could. They are just tools to help you find more clarity and understanding of different parts of your life. I'm not sure if I agree with that part. because I've had my cards read and the things that were said in my tarot card readings did actually happen. So I do see them as um, predicting certain future events, right? Although um, we do have the power to change those outcomes to a certain extent. But if something is meant to be, it's going to happen, right? So I'll just leave that there. Okay, so they are just tools to help find more clarity and understanding of different parts of your life. There are many people who read tarot with a strong faith in a higher power, and there are many people who read tarot without it. Prayer, listening to uplifting music, yoga, and reading tarot are all very beneficial tools that can bring you peace, a calm mind, and guidance toward a path to the highest good. They aren't for everyone. Just because you aren't interested doesn't mean you're any less intuitive, and just because you are interested doesn't mean you're demonic. Overall, no one's interest should be condemned, especially without being fully analyzed. And whatever people do to feel closer to a higher power is valid and belongs to them alone. Now that you know the basics of tarot reading, I hope anyone whose interest is piqued and is on their way to get a deck. And if anyone wants their cards read, I give readings too. So she gives readings. So that was a great article, and that's why I decided to share. I hope that was very informative to you. And the Baylor Laureate is basically a student journal. Um, so this was published in her university's newsletter, basically. So again, I hope that that was helpful. It's not evil. And necromancy is spelled Necromancy. Tarot card reading is considered cartomancy, Cartomancy. So you can look those up to get more information and provide more clarity. Love y'all. Later. Mwah.